Pastor Poju, thank you very much. Don't mind what your wife told you. She wasn't, it's not exactly what I told her. She gave you an edited version. But
Hello everyone, guys. I want to welcome you back to this channel. We call this Touchstone TV because here we want to test truth. What people need, especially in our country, is truth, and they need knowledge. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. If you know the truth sets free. So there is a couple of videos I'm going to show us in this video, and I want us to pay. A lot of people miss this during the June 12th Democracy Day. You know, for those of us who don't know Pastor Poju Oyemade, of course, I believe that Bishop Matthew Kukah is one of the most intelligent human beings in Nigeria. Of course, we know people who have Nobel laureates and are professors. But this Bishop Kukah is not only fearless, but he's intelligent and hits the nail at the head each time. He came for this event that Pastor Poju Oyemade organized. It's a platform program he does, I think, on the 1st of May, and then he also does it October 1, right? But he now started a special edition for June 12th. So I'm like, it's good though, but I'm thinking, are people not tired of just talking without doing? Pastor Poju Oyemade is the senior pastor and founder of the Covenant Nation, TCN. It's a ministry that is based in Lagos, Nigeria. And this is a man I respect too. I've listened to him and I admire him. When I grow up, I want to be like Pastor Poju Oyemade, but not in all things, because we have seen. We know, of course, that he's one of those people that pioneered the popularity of Peter Obi's vision to Nigerians because of those videos that Peter Obi did. Clips that people went viral. Some of the things he said, take back your country. And it was Pastor Poju Oyemade that gave him that platform. Of course, I do not think that Pastor Poju Oyemade knew that he was going to be helping Peter Obi in the future. You know, those of you online, you already know about the fears people have for some different parts of the country or ethnicities. So Pastor Poju Oyemade is a highly regarded teacher of the word of faith, known for drawing insightful lessons from God's word that are applicable to everyday life, family, business, nation building. And he has a lot of programs, that he does, a lot of them, and I believe that Pastor Poju Oyemade can drag anybody in this world to come to speak for him. He is beloved, he is well loved, and he's well liked. One of the smartest guys we have in Nigeria, So he has done a lot. He has WAFBEC, West African Faith Believers Convention, and the Platform Nigeria. There are other ones that he trains pastors, International Conference of Pastors, Ministers, Leaders, and Workers, and all of that. And he's using tech a lot in his services, But in this event that that Bishop Matthew Kukah, there are a lot of things that Bishop Kukah told him that he's supposed to think about. And I want you to listen. There's one he told him about meritocracy, because we know that Pastor Poju supported Peter Obi until Peter Obi wanted to become president, and then he started soft pedaling. There are some pastors we knew that were totally behind Peter Obi, and they were not silent about it. But those people that were very silent, we know they were against. And I don't know. Of course, people have rights to behave, but in certain ways, why don't, if you have Nigeria in 2023 was at the precipice of either destruction or salvation. And ministers of God are supposed to be the people that will champion that cause. We heard about the Yes Daddy. People who supported Peter Obi, they were never silent. Those who did not support him were the ones that were silent. And now they are saying different things. They are bringing up new programs for us to be listening to. I thank God for Matthew Kukah. Matthew Kukah said some things directly to him, because it is not just about, talking, but when you see opportunity to see a good leader, to vote in a good leader, did you take advantage of it? Did you use the powers you have and the connections that you have? That is the question. I want you to watch this 3-minute video. I'm going to come back to show you another one.
Now, while we were debating term limits, for example, I remember that time Tony Blair was prime minister. If you remember, he was prime minister for 10 years. Margaret Thatcher was prime minister for 11 years. Lee Kuan Yew, people speak eloquently about Singapore. But Lee Kuan Yew became president, I think 1968 or 69 or thereabout, a prime minister. And he remained so consistently. He conducted elections and won elections. The party he founded, People's Action Party, is still the party that is in power today. Party is still in power. Now, what people don't remember about Lee Kuan Yew, and everybody, and the speaker made mention of that country. But it also speaks to other issues. Because Lee Kuan Yew studied in Cambridge and got a first class. His son, who just stepped down now as prime minister, went to Cambridge, he got a first class. Lee Kuan Yew's wife went with him to Cambridge. She also got a first class. So the quality of his imagination, and immediately he became prime minister, the first thing he did was to go to Harvard, where young people like Kissinger were just young lecturers. He established a relationship with them. And from there, they led him to Washington. But one of the critical things that Lee Kuan Yew did, which I think should speak to the reason why democracy is failing so badly in Africa and across, I speak of Africa, is that Lee Kuan Yew identified the public service as the most important vehicle of governance. And so if you got a first class in Singapore, you went to the public service. If you did very well, you went to the public service. And he so incentivized civil service that it became the place to go to. So their salaries of civil servants in Singapore was 80% more than what people were getting in the private sector. Now in Nigeria, if somebody wants to marry your daughter and comes your daughter tells you, the guy I want to marry is working in the ministry. I'm sure you can know that is a no-brainer. It's most likely your prospective father-in-law will look the other way. So it is not so much, and those of you, I'm sure, I always like to call you Dr. Fashola. I think you eminently deserve more than that. They will speak to some of those people, those people who have had the experience and the exposure. There is not so much the kind of thing that government wants to do. Every governor, every president is full of good intentions. The question is, what is the quality of the container, the quality of the conveyor belt for carrying the good wishes of government? And because we have a thoroughly corrupt civil service, the result is that no matter the vision, no matter the dream, because we tend to focus on what president is not doing, what governor is not doing, we are forgetting the quality of those who are conveying the intentions of government. So it's to make the point that when somebody like Lee Kuan Yew stayed for that, he conducted elections. He won elections over a 30-year period. Putin is over 20 years president. We don't know when he's going to go. Museveni, we are celebrating 25 years. Museveni has been in power for about 38 years now. He started in 1986. We have no idea when he's going to go. Nigerians are quite shameless, especially the Nigerian elite. I don't know what Nigerians were thinking when they started visiting South Africa for holidays. And they still go to South Africa for holidays. And they probably have houses in South Africa. But which South Africa are you adoring? Is it the one that was built by apartheid or the South Africa of today? Nigerians are heading to, the criminals have so much money. They will go to anywhere they hear there is a good place. Nigerians are now shamelessly going to Rwanda. And they come back telling stories about Rwanda. But which Rwanda do you want to be in? Is it the Rwanda in which you can contest elections here in Nigeria, you can fight, you can go to the Supreme Court? Tell me who has stood in front of Paul Kagame and is still standing to talk. So we need to make a point about what exactly do we want. Paul Biya has been president of Cameroon since 1982. Mbasogo has been president for 43 years now, he's still president. Sassou Nguesso is still there since 1979. He's been in power for 38 years. I'm therefore making the point, and I think somebody made the point, that there's a correlation between a certain kind of stability and development. It depends though. But the volatility in our system suggests that we need to be a little bit more calm. And I think, again, the speaker before me made that point very well.
Yeah, did you see what he said? It was very direct because you There are a few people that will even be as direct as Bishop Matthew Kukah was in this video. But someone that has been told, I believe, if they know, they have been given a direct punch. He talked about some of the things that P2B stands for. First class education. First class education, Harvard, everywhere. He compared it to Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore, because you cannot remove development from education. And you cannot, be hesitant about supporting someone that you are sure of his education. Not the other person that they, faked results and faked everything, faked age, everything. He talked about people who will implement policies that are from the books that they have learned in developed nations. The foundation of Singapore today is the education that Lee Kuan Yew had in England. And these are the places that P2B also did. And I've read the book, powerful book that every politician is supposed to read, but our own. So from the books and good education, then he talked about corruption that P2B kept on hammering on. Corruption in the civil service, giving examples how he handled it in Anambra State. And he talked about stability in government, because one of the issues we have in Nigeria, we need to have a stable government that will not be distracted by election and re-election and all of those things that we see in America. We need stability in government. If we see a good man, now many Nigerians know that the golden era of Nigeria is during Obasanjo's time. And Obasanjo wanted an extension. Maybe he had other motives though, but it is possible that if he had stayed longer in power, he would have benefited the nation, even though he won't benefit other people. And Obasanjo wanted to use the opportunity of P2B to enhance or to continue good for the people, but ethnicity will not allow Nigerians. So I want us to watch another video, because in this video, you're going to see he's going to give Pastor Poju Oyemade a direct word. And he talks about the Igbos in Nigeria and their place. He talks about Chinua Achebe, talking about, the opportunities that we're supposed to take over as intellectuals. Nigeria is waiting on intellectuals, not politicians. Because there's no place that illiterates have ever built a civilization. And then he gave him a direct one, as when he talked about moral guardrails of people. And these are the lines you're going to be watching. There are people who have power, religious power. Nigeria is a very religious nation. And these powerful men of God have power to control and influence the outcome of political election. Do you know that one of the biggest churches in Nigeria, Pentecostal churches, the father, if he had given a clear body language, he would have influenced the elections, but they don't want to do that because of some certain motives they have. So religious people, religious leaders, they have power to champion a cause for a progressive nation in this country if they will continue to support people that are responsible and people that will bring to birth those things that they are preaching about. I want you to listen to this video and then put in the comment section whether you saw these things that we are saying or we're just making them up. What do you think? Because 2027 is very close, is just by the corner, and our people need to be liberated from these shackles of darkness.
Because I always say these are the things that Chinua Achebe spoke about eloquently, when he spoke about his people. Because he always insisted that Igbos must not allow these people who have money misroad to take over, their communities. Because the question, when you talk about the elite, Nigerians measure elitism by the size of your house or the size of your car. So it doesn't matter whether you are educated or not educated. I was here in Lagos. I had a wedding in Lagos. And the groom was so well dressed. Beautiful dress. So when we now go through the ritual, said, I, Thomas. We had finished. Say, I, Thomas. The guy said, I, Thomas. You say, I, Thomas. He said, you say, I, Thomas. And I kept going on. I said, repeat after me. I said, repeat after me. It was quite embarrassing because there was a loudspeaker. I didn't know the man was a stark illiterate. But he was marrying this gorgeous woman who must have married him for whatever reasons, love, if it happens. But at least there were things that were obvious. So I think we must redefine what it is to be a Nigerian, but we must also make sure that the elite claim this argument and claim this space. Because I've not seen anywhere where illiterate people have built a civilization. It is important that we understand that democracy has its ideals, but those ideals must be enunciated by intellectuals. And I think there needs to be a much more firmer foundation and finding a place for the moral guardrails that can protect our people. Otherwise, those who dismiss religion forget that even if religion didn't exist, it will be invented. Because there are so many things we cannot explain in life. But in the final analysis, people need to be reminded constantly that this world is going to end. The Catholic Church teaches a principle that it calls the universal destination of goods. That is that everything we have here on earth, and Pope Francis wrote an eloquent encyclical called Laudato Si in 2015 to make the point that everything God created is for a purpose. It's not for the greedy. It's for all his children. And I think we must continue, and I think those of us who are in the religious business, let me put it that way, we have to continue to refine the arguments. We have to continue to hold certain ideals. Because like one of my favorite writers, Obiegbu, what we need is not necessarily empires or emperors. What we need is a clean society where we measure our progress not by the presence of the rich, but by the absence of the poor.